Yeah, I'll call the meeting to order. I need a motion to accept the meeting of March 10th, 2021.
Move approval.
Need-
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. All right, Mark, let's see what our communication reports are.
All right, so this month, I gave you two graphs too. The one I'm gonna scroll down on, I actually updated mine a little bit, so there's two more data points that I have that's from April that you guys don't, but I'll explain it. So for the summary report, the flow is up. We averaged almost 4 million gallons a day in March, which is typical. We get the wet weather around this time of year. Removal efficiencies were right around 98 and 98.5%. Total nitrogen, we removed 82%. We were only 31 over the permit, which for this time of year is very, very good. Total phosphorus, we started in April. I'll cover that next month, but we're well under average, and the biosolids are almost 22%. If you go to the first graph, so the one that I have up on the screen, if you look at where the red line is, you can see the graph that I have on the screen. It actually dips down and it starts going under the red line. So those were the two data points in April that I got this week that I didn't have last week when I sent the packet out. So I could cover it more next meeting. But basically the hybrid tank we did for the primary tanks is working extremely well. So with the extra carbon and the VFAs we're generating, we're actually going under the permit certain weeks flow depending this time of year, which is the hardest time of year we typically have because of flow. So it's a real good sign for the rest of the year. So that the first graph kind of shows it, and it shows all the way from 2018 to 2021 this year about where we historically have been and where we are now and kind of where we're headed for the year for nitrogen costs. Any questions on that graph or the summary report yet?
Hey, Mark, what's the implications that we're almost always over the limit?
Um,
Do I ever expect to actually be under it or get the limit changed?
So you pay a small credit, but basically like this year, we should get the bill sometime in June. I estimate it's probably under $10,000 this year, right around there. And this upcoming year with the hybrid tank we made, I don't want to speak too soon, but I think we'll actually be getting credits this year, and moving forward, it should be able to utilize that pretty well. So.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of the plant designs, if you're going really low on nitrogen under 6 milligrams a liter, which is pretty much a 90% removal, you're putting in tertiary filters, chemicals. There's a lot of stuff that goes along with it, and we're pretty much going to be at that point or at that number without having to do that if this keeps trending the way it's trending. And the second graph just shows it over the past 3 months, and it shows it through 2018 to 2021. So you can see we're half from 2018 and literally probably 30% from last year. So the results are pretty good at this point. You want to go right into the update report, Peter?
Sure.
Okay. And let's see. No new private or public sewer for the pump stations. We put a new pump, basically the whole thing, elbow, volute, and pellet at the Southward pump station. West Farms, we rebuilt carrier bearing and shaft assembly. We also ordered a seal for the spare and added a new motor saver and had backflow preventers inspected at Harlan and Allstate.
Corporate.
We had to jet 20 Devonwood Drive, which is private. It's Brookdale Gables. Most of these we try to do as a courtesy as long as the backup isn't that bad. There were several sets of roots. We did find a blockage at the manhole closest to the housing area. So I sent the gentleman an email recommending Dude's Roots. They do some line work for us. They basically have like a chemical solution that stunts the roots growth for a number of years. I think it's a 3 or 5 year warranty. So hopefully they can start doing that, which will help any blockages.
What's usually in the blockages?
So what typically happens is like when I went out there, they get rags or anything else that would go through the sewer, but the roots are almost like, it's almost like a screen, and everything gets hung up on it, and then it just keeps hitting it and building, and eventually it clogs the whole line. So a lot of the times that we have these blockages, you look and there's a humongous oak tree or something right next to the line. So typically we try to keep the right of ways up to date so that doesn't happen. But a lot of the private areas don't know to do that. So we recommend just having Dude's Roots come out and hit the line, which will help the growth of the roots.
Okay,
We continue to clear right of ways in Jet. We have new quotes for control panels at Oakland and Allstate, which those are the last two that we have. And the same as last month, we're still working on the Patrick Flood Pump Station in order to core a hole in one of the concrete footings so we can kind of get in there easier to clean it versus bypassing the whole station, and that'll save substantial cost on that. For repairs and maintenance at the plant, we greased all the odor control units and the vortex units. We fabricated the cages for the primary mixers and finished installing the brackets and curtains that help the odor control system. We did finish the hybrid tank, which is why you see that decrease on the graphs for the nitrogen. We expect that to keep going the way it is. The UV banks were dropped in on March 29th, and the system will be online until October 31st. Everything there is working flawlessly. On March 4th, we started the hybrid primary design. We went over the graphs, and basically all we're doing is we're using the existing primaries and creating a larger agnostic zone, which helps to ferment for extra COD and VFAs, basically more food for the microorganisms. We adjusted the carrying water rates with the polymer mixing machine, and this will help to optimize the dosage for the dewatering system. And we're still working on the new blower program just to kind of dial it in and tweak it, just streamline a lot of stuff on it. And we're continuing to work with the biological phos. All our chemical costs are down. Last year at this time, we were using about 120 gallons a day a pack. This year, we're using about 50 because we're using the primary tank for the biological phos as well. So it should continue to cut a lot of savings with that as well. We work with Santo and Manicone to update the confined space program. All we're doing is kind of streamlining a lot of the stuff so it's easier for the guys when they go out. Instead of having 3 or 4 sheets, we're basically going to have one, and we're having it so they can go on the tablets and everything's e-filed. So it'll be a nice upgrade for it. And that should be about it. Any plan reviews and approvals, I'm going to do both months, next month in May, because Bruce Zero was on vacation, so we can cover that next month. Any questions, comments?
Everything at Patterson Park is working correctly?
Yeah, so far so good. We did put in, and I can actually give you guys some pictures next month. We put in a swale just to help with the groundwater there, because we always have a ton of water coming down from the reservoir and down the hill. So instead of having a groundwater pump station or something there, we basically made a nice swale go into the stream, and we have a small pump that we have running. So now we'll actually be able to mow there in the spring versus it being a big puddle.
Was that what they were doing like was it last week?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, Highway helped us with it when we put down some trap rock. And so now the water just flows right into the stream. Right now we don't have any, but I'm sure after tomorrow and Friday we'll have some. So, yeah, so we finished that. Everything else is working well there.
Were those bathhouses from the actual pond 60 years ago hooked up to the sewer at any time?
That I do not know. I can find out, but I'm not sure.
Well, they got to hook them up somewhere when they put them back in play, Mark. you know,
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that's true. I will find out.
yeah, find out for that, because that's,
Okay,
yeah, that's a good sized project there.
for sure.
They've got $7 to $10 million that they're going to be spending.
Yeah,
Plus they had a snack bar, so I can imagine where that stuff went.
yeah, I know I think we discussed it last time. We put in some meters at Robin and Berkshire. We actually did it April 2nd and 3rd last week, so it's gonna be on next meeting, but we're gonna be testing some of the flows and infiltration in that area as well, just to see, because we do have it in that area. I mean, a lot of it's just because the elevation next to the lake and stuff, but so I think I can find out.
The last one, the plan previews for the approvals for the Farmington Avenue project.
Yeah, so I was gonna go over that next month because Bruce here, he's on vacation, so he had some stuff he wanted to send, but he didn't have it yet, so we can go over that, and I'll put both of the months in for May. I'll have April and May in there for you.
That looks like it's gonna be a long, long lateral going.
Yeah, 100% it will be. That's gonna be a large project, it seems like at this point. But any other questions?
We didn't have any hookups or disconnects, right?
Nope.
Anybody else got any questions?
Kevin Ray, just so you wanted to, I'm writing down the Batterson Park about the houses you said.
Yeah, the bathhouses that they have there, because that's going to be up and running soon. They got the grant. New
Yeah, I knew the
Britain,
grant.
Hartford, Farmington.
Okay, yeah, I'll double check on that for you too.
Yeah, so that's going to be a full-fledged operation
Okay,
with the 3 towns.
okay. All right, so that should be about it. If you have anything else, or Peter, I think we're good.
Anybody else got any questions or?
Are we good with Avon and Burlington?
So they emailed Russ and I, they had requested some, let me just see who's on here too, make sure. They requested plant information from 1992 onward, which I think they're just trying to find anything at this point. We have sent them some information. I'm actually digging up more of it, but a lot of the stuff from that timeline is not even applicable at this point because the plant's literally been upgraded twice since then. So
You're going to have to dig up Roy Lamentini if you're going back that far.
some of it we had in cold storage, but at that point, there's no e-files. So they're literally just going to get a truck of documents. So we'll provide them with anything they need. But other than that, there's nothing really new there. We billed them this month. I sent it out last week. I sent them the corresponding MORs for the flow data, and I mean they've been paying it, but no comments from them yet. So
Okay. And then you haven't heard anything on our flagpole.
no, I haven't, and I actually called and left a message, and I haven't. I'm looking at it right now, and I haven't heard anything. The only thing I can say is the plywood they were driving in on is still there. I mean, it doesn't even look like there's covers on it at this point, so they must still have work or they're not finished or something. That was the last thing that they told me, was they were having frequency issues out there.
Right.
So, but I'll keep seeing if they can give me a definite timeline on that.
Well, thanks, Mark. If there isn't anything else pending, we need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion passed. Thank you, everybody.